least we can start reviewing. So, okay, we have had 7 sessions so far. I hope people have caught up on all the sessions if people have missed. But let's review the definition of stress. When we started, yeah, it's already recording, right? Okay. Yeah, when we started, there was no definition of stress, right? So now, since we have studied some fundamentals and definition of stress, what is the definition of stress? Can anyone talk about that?
It's a very vague.
Anyone?
It's a very vague definition. No concrete definitions, but it's often a physiologic response to a outside stimulus of some sort.
Yeah, that was a definition like that we searched before we learned about Jain concepts, right? So, but now then, so that we have gone through Jain fundamentals, and the definition that we provided according to Jainism. Anyone remember that definition? Yeah, you don't have to be exact in words. You can define it in your own words if you vaguely remember it too. Anyone? Nishit is here, I see. Nishit, do you remember the definition of stress now? That's the most fundamental thing. If we don't remember that, we have to go to recap a little bit. Nishit?
What happens as a response to our mithyatva? It's basically that is what causes stress. It is related to our misunderstandings or lack of knowledge of fundamental Jain principles that result in those feelings, those outcomes.
Yes, that's correct. So stress, in exact terms, the way we defined it is the anxiety resulting from unnatural behavior, or vibhav paryay of jiv. So basically, it tells you three things. It's an anxiety. It's resulting from unnatural behavior. Unnatural behavior includes our wrong understanding, our wrong belief, and wrong perceptions and kashayas. And then it tells you that it's occurring within jiv substance. It's not occurring within this body. It's not occurring within the brain. It's not occurring in outside environment. So basically, what you see in body and brain is a response to stress, like blood pressure going high. It's basically a parallel process that body has, basically in response to stress. But stress is not, blood pressure itself is not stress. It's a consequence, you could say, but it's not itself. So stress itself, if you want to define again, I will define it again here. The anxiety resulting from unnatural behavior of jiv substance. Jiv is basically soul. And we have proved the existence of soul in the past. We all have seen it, right? Any other questions?
Can we also mention that, stress is something like self-inflicting because it's how you perceive the scenario and then take it forward?
Yes, definitely. That's exactly the definition tells that it's unnatural behavior of jiv. And basically, as per our Jain fundamentals, what we have studied is one substance really cannot do anything to other substance. So if one substance cannot do anything to other substance, that means stress cannot come from outside. And if stress cannot come from outside, the only causes are left, they're left within us. So each of us individually are responsible for our own stress, and only we have an ability to take away our own stress, and no one else can do that for us. So that's another fact that comes out of the definition, and that's remarkably different from what the rest of the world thinks about stress. If you pick up any theory out there on stress, there is a stress management journal that goes on actually, and then nowadays actually on NPR in the evening there is some series on stress that they have going on. No matter what research you hear about, they always talk about external relations to stress, but real reasons, the real causes are really, although they are quite visible when you study them, you feel like, okay, yeah, this makes sense, right? That when you get angry, you get stressed. When you have ego, you get stressed. When you have a lot of greed, you get stressed. And they're quite common. So in reality, it's the unnatural behavior, which is the passions or kashayas and underlying a wrong belief about our nature of our universe, nature of ourselves, which is responsible for it. It makes sense once you study it, but it's not that quite evident to the outside world when you don't know about it. And that's the beauty of Jainism. That whole research of stress, it's basically showing you in a wonderful, well-organized manner, actually. So that was that's what we studied. Uh, then, uh, in the last few sessions, we started going into the causes of stress. And what are the causes of stress? Can anyone tell me about the causes of stress? I think the reason we are doing recap is we have had 7 sessions, so I think it's a good time just to go back, refresh a little bit. What are the causes of stress? Anyone?
Is it
Great.
Mithyatva?
Mithyatva is one of the main.
Yeah, mithyatva is, so wrong belief, mithyatva is stress.
I would say that's the ultimate root cause, right?
Yeah, yes. So that's the ultimate root cause. And then there are other causes. It's kind of like mithyatva is more like a root of a tree. And then the other things are kind of the branches and the skeleton. So what are the other things?
Lobh, Man, Maya, Krodh.
Yes, that's correct. So they are the kashayas, basically. So in 2 words, if you want to say causes, you can say mithyatva and kashayas. Right? Now let me ask you this. Don't you want to argue about this concept? Don't you want to argue that, hey, your definition and your causes of stress are quite subjective? You have defined mithyatva in your own terms in Jainism, and you are telling that this is a universal objective definition of Jainism. Don't you want to argue that? I mean, why are you not playing a devil's advocate? I'm like, play devil's advocate. What's wrong? In the end, Jainism does not actually force anything on anyone. Basically, it brings up facts of the nature, and basically, it helps us make the right choice. Basically, in the end, so I would say, question it. Why not? I mean, mithyatva, anyone can come up with their set of belief and say other set of beliefs are mithyatva, and then that would be wrong belief, right? So that becomes quite subjective. But here we're talking about very objective definition of stress. So then, what do we do about it? Anyone? So let me help you why this is not a subjective definition. This is a very, very objective definition. The word mithyatva, wrong belief, and the word kashaya, they are actually a very objective phenomena. Okay, they are not subjective phenomena, and they bring same result in everything. So just like taste of sugar would be sweet, which would be uniform in every sugar particle and across, just like that, mithyatva and kashayas of the soul of an individual, they are objective phenomena. They're the behavior occurring within that substance. So that is the objective phenomena. Once you go into the little bit of more details of how what those things are, you will itself see why they're objective and they're not really subjective and bound to change from person to person. So anger, when we get angry on someone, the other person may or may get hurt from us. Who gets hurt first? Who gets hurt first?
You yourself.
Yourself. Now, if that's the case, then do we agree that by getting angry, we get in the grief state of grief first, and no one else gets it? I mean, other person may or may not get it, but we surely get it. Is there any person in the universe that may not get hurt by anger, by its own anger?
I don't think so, no.
And in fact, not just any person or a human. You would think when you see even animals, dogs get angry, right? I mean, anytime anyone gets angry, they get into the state of grief. So that just proves that we are talking about one kashaya. Okay, that just proves by using one kashaya that whenever you have kashaya, the anxiety is bound to happen and so on. That is the fundamental the phenomena of nature. Basically, it's a fact of nature. It's not that someone has defined that this will happen, so this will happen. It just happens in nature by observation. It's a phenomena just like any other process in nature. Now let's talk about the kashayas. Basically, the root cause of kashayas itself is what we are talking about is as mithyatva, the wrong belief. Remember the example we took about the lady and the infant. Do you remember that example?
Yes.
Yes. So what happened in that example? That lady did cause a lot of grief to herself, and basically she got upset. She got scared that her dog killed the son and that. And when she goes into a different room, she realizes that all of that was unfounded. It was due to the wrong perception. So that example we took basically just show that there is a correlation. The foundation of our kashayas and grief is often a wrong belief. Now, in that example, this wrong belief we were referring about the event. But in Jainism, when we talk about the wrong belief, when we are talking about mithyatva, we're actually talking about much, much more deeper understanding of what wrong beliefs are. So what we are going to do in upcoming sessions are going to dissect those wrong beliefs. We are right now, up until now, we have just said wrong belief, wrong belief. What are those wrong beliefs? We're going to dissect that in further details and then study it, what the wrong beliefs are. And once you see that, hopefully you'll realize that it's also an objective phenomena. So once again, would like to show you that objective phenomena. Let me share my screen here. This is the objective phenomena we are talking about actually. That whenever we have in the soul, this is a due substance we are talking about, and there are due substances different attributes. Knowledge, belief, conduct. Conduct means the attribute where emotions occur, right? And then happiness and unhappiness. Now within that, there are continuous modes or paryayas keep changing, right? There are gun and then their paryayas keep changing. So whenever there is a wrong knowledge and wrong understanding, along with that, kashayas are bound to happen. And whenever there are kashayas, the grief or anxiety or stress is bound to happen. So this is a act of nature, just like any other processes occurring in nature in matter. Like fruits go just like when mango is not ripe. Basically, its color is what green. Its texture is hard. Its smell is different. It's just and when it gets ripe, what happens is everything changes simultaneously, right? Just like that. Whenever there are wrong belief, wrong understanding, there in kashayas, there has to be anxiety. There will be anxiety. That's the nature of soul substance, basically. And whenever there is no wrong belief, no wrong understanding, in the end there is no kashaya, then there will be complete bliss or peace. So that's the objective phenomena we are talking about. Are there any questions up until this point? I think Saurabh is here too now. Any questions so far? Okay, all right. So now, last time we covered classification of extreme stress. We talked about state of uncontained stress, uncontained extreme stress, and then we had talked about other categories, contained extreme stress. In uncontained extreme stress, we talked about this 5 immoral and unethical behavior. In Jainism, they are called 5 Mahapap. And we had talked about in last few sessions about extreme violence, deceitful untruth, gross stealing, adultery, and excessive sexual desire, limitless possessiveness, all those things. Then along with that, you have intense. So these things occur when you have intense passions. And in Jainism, they are called Anantanubandhi passions, Anantanubandhi kashayas. So today, and we will define in upcoming sessions, we will actually, when we talk about them in detail, will define what Anantanubandhi means actually. Now, that is actually in Jainism, beauty is there is a mathematical definition. There is a mathematics involved with each of this. This is not just subjective or something may be intense, and for someone something may not be intense, right? That's not how it's here. Jainism, everything has a mathematical definition and mathematics associated with it. Okay, so next we are going to today talk about 7 types of something is wrong here. Okay, let me actually stop sharing for a minute.
Rohit, are you talking about 7?
Go ahead. Okay, all right. I think this is the right slides. All right, so I think now you will be able to see it. Okay. We are going to talk about 7 forms of addiction. Saurabh, could you please explain what these 7 forms of addictions are, and why can they bring extreme anxiety in some person's life? Saurabh, are you there? Saurabh, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can hear. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Saurabh.
Okay. 7 forms of addictions. These 7 forms of common addictions can ruin individuals, are also causes of a state of unconditioned extreme stress.
Uncontained extreme stress.
Uncontained extreme stress. Of course, these 7 forms of addictions are non-vegetarian, hunting, alcohol, etc. So if we looks initially, so each and every government of all world, they're just trying to remove all these things. What we are discussing about 7 addictions. Second thing is that these addictions are extreme causes of extreme stress. For example, if we take an example of non-vegetarian, so non-vegetarian is a hideous padarth to eat. Second thing, it produces the tendency of violence. As we know that, first of all, the production of non-veg is a jeev. Second thing, it is not a padarth which is eatable. Third thing, usually we see that most of the Muslim countries they're fighting each other, and all Muslim countries they're non-vegetarian, completely non-vegetarian. So of course, this kind of eating may produce stress, violence, and killing each other, fighting each other. Second thing is hunting. Hunting. So we have a recent example of Salman Khan. Salman Khan killed a deer in 2007. So to kill a deer in India is prohibited by government. So government has just filed a case against Salman Khan in 2007, and till now it's continued. Government says that anyone has no right to kill anyone, any creature. even deer, even lion, etc. So hunting is prohibited in India, and the person who is having so violence parinam, so violence bhav, that only for sake of amusement, only for sake of pleasure, he's killing others. It means he's not just a patra, he's not able to get samyak darshan, because samyak is a thing um, which can come only in that heart or only in that soul which is kind in each and everything. For example, his eating habit must be good, he must have a shubh kasai, and he must have not these kind of habits: hunting, prostitution, adultery, gambling, stealing, etc. So these are the basic rules for just to get samyak darshan. Otherwise you won't be able to get samyak darshan. If we talk about a third, alcohol, drugs, tobacco, etc. So these things are not permitted by government. Even if we talk about India, so cigarette is prohibited in the airport and in railway station, in bus stand. So Indian government has prohibited to use cigarette in public places. Alcohol, as you know, that alcohol is not considered a good thing in any country. Of course, it's a it's a culture in Western countries, but they say that it must not be exceeded. And maximum killing cases, maximum rape cases, these cases are done in the state of alcohol. So this alcohol, drugs, etc. are prohibited by government, by individual, by family, by society, each and everyone, because they know that they are the major causes of violence, they are major causes of disturbance in family and individual life. If we talk about prostitution, we know that it's a bad habit. And AIDS is an example that due to prostitution, has is spreading all over the world. Adultery, it means uh, accept your wife to have a sex relation. It's not good, it's not acceptable even by any society, not in Indian society but in any culture. So a person who is having a hidden relation with other woman, definitely he will have a suspicious kind of feeling, he will try to hide that relation, so he will be uncomfortable at each and every moment. He will be uncomfortable. For example, if we receive call from his just we can say that lady to whom he is having this kind of relation, so definitely when his wife is in front of him, he will be shocked. Okay, how can I manage? At night, at day, in business, in office, each and every moment he will be just in a very stress stage or in uncomfortable. Gambling, you know, about gambling, that gambling, a person can lose each and everything, even a penny, pound, property, each and everything can lose in gambling. And those who are doing this thing, those who are gambling, so they are only for pleasure, they're getting pleasure. So it is gambling. And stealing, of course, it's a very big crime in US, in India, even in Pakistan, in Arab countries. In India, stealing is of course a crime, but not so hard punishment is there, only imprisonment of 3 months. But if we talk about the punishment in Arab countries, so they cut their hands if someone just caught in stealing a crime. It is not acceptable in India, but it's a crime, it is accepted all over the world. So if we talk about all these 7 forms of addictions, these are considered equally bad, equally cause of stress in whole world. One thing we can notice that non-vegetarian usually is done by Western countries and Muslims. But you know that Western countries right now, they are aware about vegetarian because they know the bad effect of non-vegetarian, so they are turning back to vegetarian. Okay, Prerit ji.
Saurabh, I know Pritesh actually asked a question a few sessions back about what's wrong having the alcohol, occasionally, and we had talked about it. I'd like to ask similar question about gambling. Someone may just argue that, okay, what's wrong with me going to Las Vegas and just playing for $200, $300 for $1,000, I'm just not playing every day. I'm just playing for one day. So what may be wrong? Some people may just argue that.
Mm-hmm. Addiction, it means a continuous habit of that things. So these all things are like that. For example, alcohol. If you take alcohol 1, 2, 3 times, definitely you will have to take each and every time, because it just uh, create these kind of elements in your body that it will demand that you must take alcohol. Like gambling, for example, if you just try to gamble first time, and if you just win $500, $1,000, $10,000, definitely you will think, what is the need to do this hard working job business? This is not good. Even a 1 hour I can earn $10,000. Definitely if I just continue this gambling whole day, I will be millionaire. This is the one part. Second part is that if you just if you lost, if you having just a loss in gambling $10,000, so definitely you will try to recover that. You will try to recover, then 10,000, then 10,000, then 10,000, and at last you know what happened. So these kind of habits are not good, because continuously there is a chain. So I think we must not start any kind of bad habit, because it would be the part of our life and will destroy completely.
So I'd like to bring up one more aspect of that argument where people may think that I'm gambling only one time, and so what's wrong? Basically, suppose if someone had an argument or a
I
conflict.
have a Preeti, 1 minute, please. I have a example of gambling of my life. I'm just telling you an example of my life. That was the time when I was in 12th class. So I was studying that time in Jaipur, and I was traveling from Jaipur to at my native place. It is called Chanderi. So it took around 12 hours to go to reach there. So between then, there's a place. It's a cost of gambling place. So usually people just they cheat innocent people. They just come in gang and they pretend that it is called teen patti. Teen patti, it means जो ताश होते हैं ना ताश, तो ऐसा pretend करते हैं वो कि we are doing any game. So 2 and 3% will be there, and they will win 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 300 rupees. So they will come to us. A one person came to me, okay, why are you not trying this? Look, I have just won 100 rupees. Then temptation arise in my heart. So that was the time, I think it was the matter of 1996 or 7. So I had a pocket money given by my parents. It was 500 rupees. Okay, 500 is what was enough, because traveling expenses only were 100 rupees, and 400 rupees extra I had. Then I put 100 rupees. In return, I just got 200 rupees. Oh wow, it's a good thing. Next time I will just put 300 rupees. I lost. Oh, how can I recover? My parents will rebuke me. Then I put 200 rupees. Now I have lost completely. Then I realized that was, of course, very just I was child at the time, but that time I personally realized in practical way that why in Jain religion these kind of addictions are bad. If you win, definitely you will continue. If you lose, you will continue. So we must not start these kind of habits at all. Please.
Saurabh ji, what about the stock market? Isn't it some kind of gambling too?
Yeah, stock market is just like a wealth creation. Wealth creation, it means suppose that we are 7 members and we have just planned that we must start a company of profit making. So we will issue shares of 100 crore rupees. Definitely right now we have established very initial kind of infrastructure, initial kind of business. Right now we are not having so much of money that we can run our company in perfect manner. So we would issue shares. It means we are 7 partners, and we have invested $30 lakh in that business, but more amount we will require. So we will just borrow from market by giving the shares. Right now the value of the share is only 10 rupees, because our company is as initial level. And Gaurav ji and Pritesh ji will come, okay, I want to purchase the shares of your company. Okay, how much is cost? 10 rupees each. They have purchased the share, and we are trying hard work. we are just making our company a profitable. Then after 5 years, our company is having worth of 500 crore rupees. Then definitely the value of that share will be 5 times just than this time. This is called wealth creation. But if we talk about the gambling about the stock market, so gambling is like that. If you just try to do each and everyday trading, and you just try that I must purchase these shares and I must sell instantly, I must purchase and sell instantly, that is gambling. Otherwise, the business of the stock market is called wealth creation. Wealth
So
creation. Mhm.
it's a lot like what mindset that person is doing. If that person is running the stock market business with the same type of mindset as a gambling, it would be classified as a gambling, right? Because his intent is the same thing, that hey, let me put in quick money and I want to recover fast. Instead of,
Yeah.
he's not properly analyzing his basically in form of business. He's just using it as a form of quick return. If he were to analyze it properly and do proper investment and then do it like that, then it may not be a gambling. Is that right, Saurabh?
Yeah, suppose that in the stock market, most of the FI, world FI, even US, British, France, most of the FI, foreign investors, they're coming India. They're coming India and and investing rupees, investing dollars, investing pounds, investing euro. They invested 5 years ago, and now they're selling their stock in profit. It means they're trying that Infosys is a good software company. Definitely, after 5 years, it would be more profitable than this time. So they will sell their stock after 6 months, 2 months, 1 month, 5 years, 3 years. But it is mhm.
When a person does sort of this stock market business properly, then that person does it. If that person does it properly, then he's actually owning the. Not only he's owning the shares of the company, means the property in the company, but he's also basically doing some work on his own, right? Looking at the numbers, making a reasonable, sensible analysis that, oh yeah, this company is going in the right track, and I should
Yeah,
invest. So gambling is nothing, So a lot of times, if you do the stock market right way, then there is a lot of analysis and a rationalism involved. In gambling, there is, it's basically blind. Hey, let me put in the money, try my luck, and get my more money back. So that's just another difference.
Prerit, I also want to ask one more question regarding this whole stock market thing. So, whenever a person is investing, what is the perception behind investing? Is he investing because this is a good company, or he's investing because this good company is going to give him a return? So, how can you differentiate and try to put that aside of making a return than thinking about a proper investment?
But in a way, if you think about it, ultimately the purpose of stock market or us being in stock market is the wealth creation, right? That's the ultimate purpose. So yeah, you are going to think about wealth creation, but
So,
there is a
in
difference between wealth creation in gambling and wealth creation in terms of stock market. Like basically in gambling, it's all blind and it's all completely, I mean, based on luck, basically. It's blind. You don't have much control over it. In the stock market, also, you don't have much control over it, but there is a substantial amount of rationalism involved. I mean, if you do it with the same mindset of a gambling, then yes, it becomes a gambling. If you do it with a proper analysis, like you run your own business or like you run your own, you do with your own money,
But
you do it blindly.
there's a fine line, because like if you go to places like Vegas, they gamble on the randomest stuff. Recently, I'll give you an example. uh, LeBron James, basketball player, where is he going to go next? Oh, is he going back to Cleveland? Is he going back there? Blah, blah, blah. And people do analysis on stuff like this and they put money on this. Would you classify this as gambling or not? Second thing is World Cup. When World Cup or Super Bowl is going on, or any of these sport events, people analyze these teams and they invest, they put their money on a certain team winning. Would you classify that as gambling or wealth creation? Because you're still doing your research at the end of the day.
That's a very good point. So that's a very good point. I think that would still classify as a gambling, because what happens is basically what you're trying to do is you're basically putting your money in a place basically where you have a lot of risk and very little control, and basically it has more than the external process. as we talked about, it has more to do with the mindset. If you have this mindset of making so much more money through very little return and very little upfront effort in a very short time, so that greed ultimately is the root cause of the gambling, and that mindset is basically gambling. Like as we talked about, right? Even the investments you're doing with same mindset, it becomes a gambling, right? Like, and suppose
but
Saurabh, let me ask you. There is another example I would like to ask. No, there are video game parlors in India, right, Saurabh?
Which one?
In India, there are video games parlor, right? I mean, even here, there are arcade games and stuff like that. Right, Saurabh, you may have game. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to the game parlors, and I would not basically go with the mindset of earning anything, but my mom would give me like 10 rupees or 20 rupees, be like, I just wanted to play a game. And I would not go there with the purpose of earning anything back. I know that, I'm just basically going to put that 20 rupees there. I'm going to play a game for my entertainment. So there is no basically expectation of return and no earning back. I'm just using that as a form of entertainment. And Saurabh, would you classify that as a gambling?
Yeah, if you just, it is called in India that satta of cricket and football.
No,
So
Saurabh,
satta,
but here there is no, you're not going to get anything back. It's kind of like, suppose I don't have a video game. Like suppose if I were to afford a video game, I would get a video game at home and play a video game in TV. But since I didn't have it and I wanted to play a video game, I would go to this parlor where I am not going to get anything back. It's kind of like, you're going to internet cafe, cyber cafe. You're paying your 5 rupees and you're using the computer. Just like that, I'm going to that game parlor and just paying the whatever rupees and just playing that game for that number of hours. I'm not
yeah,
getting anything.
that is not gambling. Of course, that is not
Exactly.
gambling.
So here, that's the point difference I wanted to point out, that more than the external process, it's more about the mindset that person is approaching that activity with. If there is a desire to make so much money in a very little time with a very high risk activity, I think it becomes gambling.
Prerit, with your example of the arcade game, would you call that an addiction then? Is it a form of addiction which will cause extreme stress? You're going to play a game, you're going to win once, second
Yes,
time you lose, and then and again you want to go.
correct. You see, addictions can be of so many things, right? I can be addicted about eating something, right? I mean, these are the 7 forms of addictions that we have classified. That doesn't mean there are not infinite other addictions. There could be infinite other addictions. I think what we have talked about here are the 7, and that definitely is stress, right? I mean, anything that leads us to basically kashaya, it is a stress. But what we are talking about here is some 7 forms of extreme addictions that actually ruins a person's life. So yes, if I were to do that excessively and say instead of going to school, I remember a friend of mine used to do that. He would tell something at home that hey, he's going to school for tuition, but he would not go to the school or tuition. He would go to the game parlor and he would spend all his pocket money there day in, day out. And at the end of the day, at the end of the year, he failed the exam. He failed the board exam. And no one knew the right reasons behind it, and they found out. They were really upset with him. So I mean, yeah, that was the type of addiction, and that would be more. We would classify in stealing, in fact, because he was stealing his parents' money, and by lying and something that he was not given for, he's using that money for. But yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely addiction.
We can say that those habits which just increase our kasayas. So we can say all those things which are increasing our kasayas can be defined as addictions, because extreme kasayas are barrier in getting samyak darshan. So of course that is addiction.
Yeah. And the reason gambling is classified in the 7 highest form of addictions, because with gambling there is this desire to make so much money by taking so much risk that it can ruin people's life completely. I mean, like if I were to spend 20 rupees or $20 somewhere in a game parlor one day, that particular activity won't ruin my life. But if I get addicted to it, that may ruin my life. So I mean, this gambling stuff, basically that tendency, and another example I'd like to bring is, suppose we had a conflict with someone, right, and we had a very bad argument, and we don't get along with that person. So what may happen is we're not going to think about that person 24 hours. When you go to work, when you do get involved in other activities, you're going to forget about that person. But that desire to take revenge or desire of or that feeling of conflict is still within, right? It hasn't gone away. So just like that, we may talk about that. Okay, what's wrong if I do gambling just one time? So if you earn 500 rupees, or I mean, or if you earn a return from gambling, so that desire to gamble just remains. Even though we may or may not do gambling at other times, the desire to do gambling does remain. So that itself is a stress, and that desire or tendency can lead us to the increased addiction someday in future. So that's another point I wanted to bring about here. Any other questions?
Okay. In short, we can say that stock market. Yeah.
Someone has a question. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to clarify, when we say other addictive substances on the third item, can we consider any addiction, like why we consider the tobacco as an addiction? Just because it can ruin the health of the life, health of any human being? Is that the one case?
Yeah, these are the extremely harmful substances to human life, right? Alcohol, drugs, because they're all in the same category.
I just want to clarify, if anyone has an addiction of the tea or coffee, can we consider that as a part of addiction?
Yeah, addiction. Of course, addiction.
Yeah, it is an addiction, but it is not. I mean, here, keep in mind, we're talking about 7 very bad highest form of addictions according to
Yeah, these are highest form, but it is not confirmed that only these 7 addictions are only there. Many types of addictions may be there.
Addictions exist, yeah.
Right. I just want to confirm, because there is you mentioned alcohol, drugs, tobacco, and or other addictive substances. So I just want to clarify what other addictive substances are. It's not more, right?
Yeah, mainly we are talking about the really harmful substances. Like, it's impossible to list all of them here.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about cocaine, heroin, any kind of opioids, narcotics. A lot of people do those kind of addictions, and that can be as other addictive substances.
Narcotics, yeah, basically that's what we are talking about. So
I just want to tell you that I have seen, if people have addiction of tea, and if they don't get tea or coffee, they are in like a bad situation at the time. So I think I am also believing that the tea and coffee is the addictive stuff which is increasing stress.
Basically, if we see that tea and coffee is not the product of India, it has been brought from London. So they have they were merchant, they were doing their business. So they have spread it all over India, and they created a demand. Of course, we can say that addiction, but alcohol, drugs, tobacco, these are common things. So maximum people, they are destroying their body, they are destroying their family due to alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. But we have not heard that any family has been destroyed by the habit of tea. That's why it's addiction, but not so big addiction as we consider.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Saurabhji.
Anyone has any other questions? Very good discussion today. So.
Okay, Dr. Ketan, do you have any view or opinion about this alcohol, drugs, tobacco, etc.?
I think everyone said the concept correctly, which is anything that causes one to take away focus from focusing on yourself, rather than all of these things, alcohol, drugs, tobacco, often are used to deal with stress, if you want, in a way. And rather than dealing with stress in those ways, if you truly understand Mithyatva and Kashais, that is the obviously much better approach.
Saurabhji, so I'm one of the liver and pancreas specialist, and alcohol kind of damages these 2 organs. So majority of my patients are alcoholic, and I can tell you the concepts behind are so, I mean, they don't understand that it is actually hurting them. They think it's helping them. So despite having so many problems, they continue to do that. And all of them started with like 1 or 2 drinks in the beginning, and then they realize, oh, I don't drink too much because it doesn't hurt them, and eventually they get used to it. And even large quantity of alcohol, they think their senses are still normal and it's not bothering them, so it's not bad, it's just fine. When we go in detail and ask them actually how much they drink, it's a large volume of alcohol, and they have no idea what they're doing to themselves. Some of them will be like, oh, I didn't have anything to do, I had good family, work, everything, but I just didn't see a meaning, so I didn't started drinking alcohol. I mean, the fact that they started drinking the barrier was broken. They felt that alcohol, I have tried before, it's not a barrier anymore. So 1 drinks is equal to 2 drinks, it's no big deal. 2 drinks become 3, and it just keeps going on without them realizing that this is what they're doing. And it may take few years before that happens. But you started somewhere, it can lead you in wrong direction anytime.
Of course. This is the fact of alcohol and drugs, tobacco, cigarette, etc.
Very good discussion.
Just a quick question. Actually, once in a while we, hear in newspaper or even the columns written by doctors saying that it's good to have alcohol once, if it's good for your heart. So is it just a myth? Like those columns are really written by doctors actually. So I don't know why they write
okay
such.
I can tell you about one thing about this. I have just read in a Ayurvedic book, so I just wanted to tell you this in Hindi. Try to understand. ऐसा बोला गया कि जो वैद्य है ना, जो इंडियन आयुर्वेदिक पद्धति है, इट्स अ मोर इफेक्टिव देन दिस वेस्टर्न मेडिसिन. क्योंकि वेस्टर्न मेडिसिन में ना अभी टाँके लगाते हैं ना, हम स्टिच लगाते हैं. इंडियन आयुर्वेद में ऐसे रस होते हैं, अभी भी ऐसे रस हैं, जिनको केवल अपनी त्वचा पर डाल दिया जाए और रात भर केवल बांध दिया जाए ना, तो पूरी का पूरा जो मांस फटा हुआ है ना, पूरा जुड़ जाता है. सेकंड थिंग, इंडियन आयुर्वेदिक डॉक्टर कभी नहीं बोलते कि आपको शराब पीना आपके लिए, आपकी बॉडी के लिए जरूरी है, मांस खाना आपके लिए बॉडी के लिए जरूरी है. वो ऐसा बोलते हैं कि आपके सारे न्यूट्रिशंस हैं वो आपको इससे मिल जाएंगे, वेजिटेरियन से मिल जाएंगे. चूंकि जो ये वाला अपना एलोपैथिक जो पूरी की पूरी जो टर्म है ना, पद्धति है, ये पूरी की पूरी वेस्टर्न में क्रिएटेड की गई है. वो लोग अल्कोहल लेते हैं, उसके बाद नॉन वेज लेते हैं, तो उनको ऐसे लगता है कि पूरे के पूरे विटामिन जो रहते हैं ना, वो इसमें रहते हैं, आपके नॉन वेज में रहते हैं. उसके बाद सबसे बेनिफिशियल चीज आपकी अल्कोहल रहती है, क्योंकि वो लेते हैं ना उसको, इसलिए ऐसा सपोर्ट करते हैं. आयुर्वेद में कभी सपोर्ट नहीं करते.
And the other thing is also this, that when Jainism makes statements, if there is one substance that's helping one organ but it's hurting other organ, would you not want to look at the overall health and augment the overall health of the person? So when Jainism talks about basically some recommendations here, not only it's talking about the entire physiological aspect, it's also talking about the spiritual well-being and social implications and larger point of views considered. And those doctors are doing that study, those doctors may be doing that study from the point of view of 1 or 2 organs. So it may help. Perhaps they're saying that it's good for heart, right? Maybe it's good for heart, but as Pritish mentioned, it's really bad for livers and kidneys. So I mean, they're really not augmenting the overall health. So what's the point? They're partial studies. They're incomplete studies actually.
You're absolutely right, Prerit. Actually, the number of drinks, if you see in allopathy, that's a big problem. We recommend, I should say, because I'm allopathy part now, so we recommend something today. 5 years down the line, we say, no, that was wrong. Actually, you should do this. 5 years down the line, we change that again. And the thing is, even in terms of alcohol, you would see they have revised those numbers so many times. Initially, no, this was okay. Then came back, no, actually, only this much is okay. No. Actually, the level should be even lower. So every time they revise this, and when you start, like when you say 1 or 2 drinks are okay, the moment they say that, they say 3 drinks is too much for you and it can hurt you. So they say 1 or 2 is okay for females, and for males is 2 and 3. And the moment they go up, oh, now it's bad. So how do you define the 3 and 4? And there are so many, the concentration varies, then the dose varies.
Even person to person, there are so many tolerance levels, right? Some person cannot take the same tolerance level.
And a little bit more of alcohol. So Samkit, if you have a little bit more alcohol you add to it, the same organ that they're talking about, the heart, that they're saying heart will be benefited from this, you end up with severe heart problem. I have just yesterday had a patient, 45-year-old, who has a pacemaker and a defibrillator just because of alcohol. So the same organ will be hurt. So you're saying that, oh, one drink is good for heart and you drink 3 and it is going to create problems for your heart. So, and again, they say, oh, everybody responds differently. So there is so much of contradiction in that area. Everyone is trying to justify. Most of the doctors actually, if you ask them, they fall in the category of alcohol abuse, because if you look at the definition, they themselves don't know. Actually, I didn't even realize 3 drinks is actually abuse, but they drink. Many of them drink. So it's very gray area, and everyone tries to laugh because everyone likes to drink, and they kind of, oh, okay, that's fine, kind of.
Yeah.
I
To
think
summarize, we can say that even minute venturing into any 7 forms of addiction, according to Jainism, is very, very dangerous. And one should stay away from them completely 100%. They don't want to get into stress at all in any point of their life. That's just the bottom line, I think, what we can summarize here about the 7 addictions. You may have other forms of addiction, but at least these 7 forms of addictions should we really try to make it stay away from if we want to progress in the right direction in life.
Kitanji, you want to say something?
I was just going to say, Prarit was, I think Prarit had said it very eloquently. And Gujarati, we say, Kaya drashti thi jo acho. Which point of view are you looking at that problem of the alcohol? Which point, if you can find a perspective which may be beneficial, but then anyone else can argue that there are other perspectives that are not beneficial. In general, I would say, especially in regards to alcohol, drugs, tobacco, prostitution, adultery, gambling, and maybe even stealing, they're all used to cover up other emotions. Many, many times, they're used to cover up pain or hurt from other problems in your own life. And that is because, as Prarit has described very eloquently, it is because of mithyatva and kashai. It is misunderstandings in our own life about what the true nature is. So just make that comment.
Oh, excellent, Ketan. Thank you for summarizing that so well. So, yeah, and guess what? Next time we are going to see something that is even more dangerous than the 7 forms of addiction. Can you imagine that? What could be that? That's something even more dangerous and even more hidden than the 7 forms of addictions. You know, the 7 forms of addictions, a person who is going through it will know at least that these are addictions, and I should probably not doing it, and it has some negative repercussions. But something that we are going to talk about next time, so dangerous, far more dangerous, that it leads to all of this and everything else, all the problems in life. And the person may not ever realize that he or she has that problem, and nor do other people may realize. And it's so hard to find guidance to correct that as well. So we'll talk about it next time. We'll keep you guessing what that is. You may want to think about it, what that could be. But yeah, it's one of the fundamental root cause of stress. Okay. And today, I mean, we're at 11 o'clock and we wanted to cover that video, but the discussion was going on. I couldn't really interrupt the discussion. So let me take a vote. How many people have time to stay 25 more minutes? Anyone who really have to go?
I don't have any problem.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone who has to go? Okay, if people are ready to stay, then I can walk. If anyone has objections, we can do this next time. Okay.
We can do next time. We can do next time. We will divide a class in 2 parts. Half of the half hour we will organize a class, and half hour do that activity.
Yeah, Saurabh, I think that was the idea, but I think the discussion was so good that
I recollect this, that we have to do this, but I don't think it must be interpretable because it's a very interesting topic we were going on.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't interrupt it. Yeah, and I think maybe if people are available, then we can do it. I just don't want to keep someone who doesn't have a time and then they have to stay here. I don't want to do that.
Time, because we are just continuing discussing last 1 hour. Okay, yeah. One more thing about alcohol. that alcohol, it's a very cheap product. In production house, it's a very cheap product. So most of the alcohol companies, they're trying to make it more famous, more common. So advertisement is sponsoring cricket, is sponsoring just football matches, just they are giving advertisement on TV. So do you know, they are having so huge amount of advertisement that each and every one think that it must be acceptable. It must be the part of life. And I have just talked about to that people in my office, they're just alcoholic. I asked that what type of taste of this alcohol. They told me, no, it's not good. It's very bitter taste. But now I have been habitual. So my most of the money, most of the salary, I have to spend in that. And there is a havoc in disturbance in my family. So it's a really bad things.
It is people often say that you have to develop a taste. Means you don't like it, but you have to force it upon yourself.
So it's only advertisement and nothing else, because it's a very cheaper production. Okay, Pranitji.
Okay. All right. So I think so. What we'll do, Saurabh, let's do this next time. We will show these videos and everything that.
You can just give short information about. Then next time we will.
So next time I think we will show that for first. Basically, yeah. I mean, we will try to make a cut off 10:30 or something and show the videos. Basically, next time we want to, we will do class for 30 minutes, and next 30 minutes we want to show you some audio, video, book, Jain book projects that Saurabh is doing, and he's also going to launch it in form of Jain apps, like mobile apps. And some of them are going to be like basically Jain animated stories for kids in the form of apps for iPads and tablets, and as well as phones. And then there are going to be some other apps for like audio books, video books, and stuff like that. So yeah, please be here next time. It will be good for you for us to get your suggestions and how we can move this project forward. Okay. Any other questions?
Saurabh, I have tried to download on my mobile. Basically, I'm using iOS. So is it available on iOS also, or it is only for Android?
Yeah, I'm just making all my apps only for Android.
And right now he has not launched. Have you launched any?
No, I have not launched, but all platform is Android. Android. Google Android. Yeah.
Maybe Prerit, next week you should start talking about that first and then go into the session, because if the session is intriguing, we'll again miss this out.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. So, but the thing is, some people join late. So for like first 10, 15 minutes, I know a lot of people are not here anyways. So what we can do is we can start recap, and as soon as recap is complete, when people are here, we can go into our demonstration of these projects, and then if time is left, then we can come back. What do you think?
That sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, so we will do that next time. We will do like a little bit of recap, because a lot of people join late, like 10 minutes late or something like that. So, okay, all right. So that's it for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so